Yeah, right now, and I'm back because I really just had a question. A question to ask everybody. How you doing again, my people? How you doing? How y'all doing tonight? I just got, the urge to ask y'all about this hip dysplasia thing. I mean, because, American bullies themselves are suffering through a couple of medical problems also. Hip dysplasia being one of them. And I'm pretty sure you've heard it before. I'm pretty sure you've heard it before. But sometimes you just got to repeat things for somebody to just get it before it can just stick. And I was just doing a little reading right here where it says American bullies can be prone to hip dysplasia. They're prone to hip dysplasia. So that means a lot of them can get it. They're born with it, which is when the femur is the thigh bone, and hip bone do not align. It's when the femur is the thigh bone, and the hip bone do not align. Could that be from excessive weight on a dog? Like the legs have to be pretty strong to carry a whole lot of weight. So that might, be a slight possibility that could be from carrying too much weight, which can strain the surrounding ligament network. It can strain the surrounding ligaments just from having that part of hip dysplasia, where the femur, the thigh bone, and the hip bone do not align. They don't come together. Could this be from excessive weight or not exercising your dog properly? Something to think about. This can lead to local arthritis. Yeah, man, I could believe like some of these dogs that are just too big, I could believe that they have arthritis. It's hard for them to move around. I could believe that the cold or a cold floor would bother that dog. Laying on the concrete, even when it's warm outside, will bother that dog. These are things you can believe. It causes general discomfort and a loss of mobility over time. Some of the dogs that are 3 years old and up, if you had that dog your whole life, you should see how his mobility has changed, if it changed at all, over those 3 years. And then if you had him for 3 years, look at the 5 years. Start noticing when your bloodline literally changes, the mobility in the dog. Because when a dog is heavy, man, it's hard for a dog to be mobile for a long time. When you see big people in the world, it's pretty hard for these big people to move around and walk around with all that excessive weight. So they don't usually go places all the time. They'll usually take a taxi cab, and if need be, they'll catch a bus. But mostly all the time they got to ride. Because it gets hard to move when you're big. So your mobility is gonna, see, all these things come along with breeding to different dogs. You know what I'm saying? Because you probably wasn't having a major hip dysplasia with the razor's edge. I mean, you didn't see people tearing the veterinarian door down, going in the veterinarian, for, hip dysplasias with the razor's edge and the Gotti dogs. You didn't see all of that. But now all of a sudden you see dogs just, they look good, but they fall apart. They fall apart. You know what I'm saying? They fall apart. And you have to really start asking yourself, is some of these dogs sick? I mean, he looks good on the outside, but on the inside, is he sick? Does he have that hip dysplasia? Is that why some of these dogs' legs look like they're bending down on the back end of them? Look like they're squatting already? Literally, man. I mean, you can see it. You can see on some of these dogs, it looks like they're squatting in the back already. I mean, some of them don't have proper leg power to even, man, get up in a car no more, man. That's one of the main things that I'm saying. Your leg power is gone. And to just have a dog that can't even attempt to jump a fence is just like not even having a dog at all. Now, that will lead to your dog having bad bones. You put all this mass on this dog, right? And you say he's got these big, broad shoulders and he's got these nice forearms and he's built to carry 100 pounds daily. His arms aren't built. I mean, that's 25 pounds on each arm daily. 25 pounds each arm has to carry on a daily basis. Eventually, he's going to fall in. He's going to be too heavy. You got to trim him up. That had to come from a different dog too. I mean, you don't really have to trim up terriers like that, and they eat a lot. Man, they can eat. You know what I'm saying? But I can see these bigger dogs having bone problems. How many of y'all can see these dogs having bone problems? Something being wrong with the ligaments. Hip dysplasia is one big thing. Any veterinarian can tell you. We've dealt with it numerous of times. In the American Bully breed. In all classes, they've dealt with hip dysplasia. So, how do you feel about that? What would you think all this hip dysplasia is coming from? Because it's in the newer dogs. The newer dogs have hip dysplasia. They really do. These are things that the veterinarian says they see on a daily basis. It's dogs, they're treating dogs with hip dysplasia. Now, is that from dogs being too big? Is it? The bad bones typically. Bully sticks that are properly stored can stay fresh for up to 2 years. Oh, that was me from reading some about Raw. That was me reading some about Raw. Because when it comes down to these bones, of a dog, you want to know, are they bones strong enough to even carry the size of this dog? Does he have leg problems? You know what I'm saying? In severe cases, pain and loss of function are common because he's having leg problems. So pain and loss of function in this dog is common. This is common. He loses his whole function. He loses his whole function because he's having that much pain in his legs. Pain and loss of hip function. The hip function. Come on, man. The dog. See, this is all got to be from excessive weight. Hip function. This is all common. Hip dysplasia is most often genetic in origin. So basically, when you know what I'm saying, one of your dogs have hip dysplasia and you breed that dog, your pups is subject to grow up with hip dysplasia. It's a genetic thing. This is genetic. And it comes, you know what I'm saying, from breeding these oversized dogs, putting all that mass on a little frame. And then some of y'all putting all that mass on a bigger frame. But do the dog need all that mass? Now his mobility is just not right no more. He can't move the same way he used to. That's what you call a bully? That's an American bully, huh? Okay. Hip dysplasia is most often genetic in origin. In some bully breeds, bones develop more quickly than the muscle required to hold them in place. The bones develop more quickly than the muscle required to hold them in place. So you can have a full-grown dog, bones develop quickly, but he's still, the muscle still needs to be put there. Here, man, the resulting loss hip joints can contribute to deterioration of cartilage, protecting the femoral head. Yeah, man, I think it is a true statement that when you put too much mass on your dog can start to get, his legs can start to ache. He could get hip dysplasia. And you just shoved all this mass on this dog, and he's not able to exercise properly. No, I would never help to tear down anything when it comes to this breed. Only help to build it. But damn it, have you ever heard the term don't fix it if it ain't broken? This I don't think the dog was broke up like that to be trying to fix it. Adding and pasting, and I need this part and that part. You don't really need all those parts. You don't really need all those parts. You should have kept the original parts and stuck to the original standard. But even if you want to stray off, that's that is your choice. That is what you choose to do. You have the right to create a new dog, because most of the dogs that you're looking at today that have hip dysplasia and joints that hurt and their legs are hurting, you're looking at a dog on the ground, but you don't see his legs hurting. You're not his legs. You can't feel nothing that this dog can feel. And it's amazing that you see some of them take a seat when you stop. They just clearly lay down. And you looking at the dog like maybe he's tired. Now maybe his legs could be hurting. All types of things you got to look at when you start to bring in new genes into your dogs and putting them in your gene pool. You may lose puppies. You may shorten up your litters with all of these brand new genes that you adding in. And if in fact you're adding the bulldog in there, bulldogs really, you want more puppies than what they could have. And it's like, man, I know for a fact, just like you know for a fact, something got to be wrong with the dogs when it comes to their brachiocephalic noses. You can see these dogs have little bitty muzzles and small nostrils. It's a problem when your dog got small nostrils. And his mouth is always open, like he can't breathe or like he ain't getting enough air. Don't you know if you was to hold your mouth open for a long time, just breathing, your throat and the top of your mouth and all in the back of your throat would just be dry. Maybe that's why a dog always stops breathing and starts licking his lips and then start breathing again, because his throat is dry. It's a lot of things owners miss. Either you're missing it, or you don't know about it, or you just don't want to tell nobody about it and explain it. That, yeah, and it's in some cases, when you make a dog too big, you put too much weight on a dog, you can be hurting that dog. You could be doing more harm than good. What you want to see is nice, but what could really be happening is that dog is in pain. That's why you don't see them mobile. I mean, they're not just walking around. They're not just roaming. When you go to the park, you know, they'll run out there a little bit and go catch some and then run it back to you. And that's enough running for them. The mobility is cut down. The air has been cut down. He's not an athlete no more. In no shape, form, or fashion is he an athlete anymore. And this would be the dog that everybody calls the American Bully. And then say that you're not doing good by not speaking good about the new breed. Ain't nothing to talk about. That's your version of a dog. My version of the dog was the Razor's Edge. Ain't nothing to talk about. Is the Razor's Edge got some sick problems? Hell yeah, you do. Every dog got some type of problem. But let's look at the dog we dealing with. The dog that, is changing the game. All these new dogs that's changing the game. When you change the game, you change the medical sheet too. And I'm the type of person that'll check the veterinarian records just to see, what are these dogs coming up in here for? They're coming up in here because they can't breathe right. A bulldog has to have his adenoids took out sometime. These American bullies with them small brachiocephalic faces, do you have to have your adenoids took out sometime? So that you can breathe better? Those who have taken their dogs to the vet. Because a lot of these bullies, if it's vet time, it's get rid of you time. There's a lot of bullies in the shelter, man. I don't know where you live at, but around here where we live, boy, you go to that shelter down there, ain't nothing up in there but bully breed dogs. Nothing up in there but bully breed dogs. The dogs that didn't make the cut. The dogs that got sick too early. Some of the dogs that get sick from litters too early, they get rid of them. Go check the shelters, you'll see them. They look just like the dog you're about to buy. Look just like the dog you're about to buy. You better start understanding what you're buying before you buy it. Sometimes you can breed a dog better than what you're about to buy. You can breed that dog better than what you're about to buy. What you're about to buy is probably a name. And I done told you before, a lot of times, I done seen people buy high-end names and breed that damn dog and don't get a high-end pup. Don't get a high-end pup. You got to find a female who complements that dog. And how easy is that? How easy is finding a female who complements your dog? And then sometimes when you get them dogs and you breed it to a female, most of the time you just breed yourself into a corner by constant inbreeding. Constant inbreeding. When you see a dog born with a king tail, that's a different breed. Bowed out feet, that's a different breed. Colors that don't belong on a pit bull terrier or a Staffordshire terrier, that's a different breed. colors that you wouldn't find on the watchdog or the band dog. That's a different breed. But they don't want us to talk about the different breeds that's inside the dog. I'm only talking about what I see. And sometimes, if the dog look nice, breed it. That's the name of the game. That's just it. If the dog looks nice, breed it. See what the puppies look like. If they stand out, we roll with it. That's not how breeding goes. But do your thing, man. I just wanted you to really just sit back and think of the problems that comes along with putting too much mass on a dog, because even though you're giving a dog big bones, those are still skinny legs. Even them big boned legs are still skinny legs to all the mass that he's carrying. Wouldn't you say so? I mean, wouldn't you say so? Like, every single day, one leg has to carry 25 pounds. 25 pounds on one leg. That dog is going to be hurting. His life, throughout his life, he's going to be in pain. Think about it. 25 pounds on each leg you carrying every single day. Put that on your legs. Put a 25-pound weight on each one of your legs and carry it every single day. Man, you ain't going to make it too far. You ain't going to make it that long before you give in. And that's just a true statement. Think about that and let me know what you feel right here on Face the Bully.